you directly connect it up with the sales team or the pro shop if you're local and make a tee time.
That's fantastic. Dave, thanks for finally getting a hole in your schedule to join us here on Finding Fairways and telling our listeners a little bit more about all the great stuff happening at Evergreen Resort.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, David Veen from Evergreen. The website is evergreenresortmi.com, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
All right, thanks, David.
Thank you.
We will be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
Time for the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show. We are brought to you by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins and JJ Rao in studio with you this morning. And JJ, right out of the gates, we got to talk to red hot coach Andy Moore of the Grayling Vikings soccer team. And Andy, I tell you what, you've got something rolling with this Grayling soccer team. You've got a special unit there.
Yeah, we sure do. And I saw this coming a few years ago. We just, these kids came through the youth program, looked really good through the youth, beat a lot of teams. So we knew we'd have something good this year. I don't think I figured we'd be this good. We got it clicking right now.
Yeah, you really do. And talk about that. Your record right now. You guys, you haven't given up a whole lot of goals. Have you guys given up a goal yet?
Yeah, we gave up our first goal Wednesday against Ithaca, and the streak was fun. It was nice, but I'm kind of glad that's over because we got bigger aspirations this year to do something in the postseason. So it was good. We gave up that goal. We refocused, and we're looking really good right now.
Yeah, I totally agree, Andy. You didn't want the pressure of being, holding every team scoreless and go on a deep playoff run and have that on top of it where you have to shut everyone out. I totally agree. Giving up that goal, it was probably a good thing so everyone could get back to refocused. And talk about some of the kids on this team right now. I know you're up at, Alpena right now, getting ready to play in a tournament?
Yeah, we've got Alpena, or we're in Alpena where we've got Marquette here in about a half hour, which would be a good test for us. But we all start with our keeper, and Jordan Peters has been a 3-year starter. He's gotten better every year, puts in a lot of time and effort, and solid keeper for sure. And then we go right to the back line. I mean, they're the reason why we've only given up one goal. Grant Dunham, Cam Baker, Max Husband, Drake Dunham. Those guys have played big minutes for us, shutting teams down, and then my stopper Alex Moore. He plays pretty well in the middle. He's got a lot of field knowledge. So that back line and our stopper are pretty solid.
Is this team pretty much, is it the old adage that defense wins championships, Andy? And is that what this team kind of is all about?
I mean, defense is big for sure, but I've got a bunch of kids that can play different positions. I talked about Drake Dunham. He moved up. He's been moving up between defense and midfield. He scored like 10 goals this year. Defense does win championships, but we scored a lot of goals. We had a heck of a goal scorer last year, and we're actually have more goals this year than we had last year at this time. So,
wow.
I think it's a great balance right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and that's and it's harder to defend then as well. You know what I mean? Because you can't really key in on one person. If you're getting balanced scoring from 3, 4, 5 different people, then all of a sudden it just makes this Grayling team a whole lot harder to defend.
That's right. We've got 3 guys that have over 10 goals this year, and so there's that balance as well. So it's pretty exciting to watch. I guess it's a little special. I mean, like I said, I didn't think we'd be this good, but it's pretty amazing to watch for sure.
Yeah, and Andy, as a measuring stick, as a casual fan, when you guys beat Elk Rapids, that's really when you caught my attention. I'm like, because again, in northern Michigan, in the whole state of Michigan, Elk Rapids is kind of like the measuring stick, as you say, for good quality soccer. And when you guys beat them, I'm like, oh yeah, this is really really a good team.
Well, yeah, and we, in the years I've coached here, it's, we started with let's not get mercy to let's compete to let's go out and win. And, last year we were close to them, had leads on them that evaporated. So this year it was, a combined effort, all 11 guys out on the field. And what a super exciting game. Elk's a great team. And we just shut them down. We looked great that game. So pretty excited.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, the breakdown of this team, and is it a senior-laden team, or you got a good mix of senior, juniors? Do you have any underclassmen?
So yeah, I mean we're a pretty good mix. Our defense is mostly seniors, and then the midfield strikers. They're mostly juniors, so that's good. I've got a freshman starting he's a really good player, Owen Lewicki. Then I've got a couple sophomores that play a lot of minutes as well. So what's good is having a JV team. We've had that the last couple of years, so it gets some development with the kids that normally don't get a whole lot of varsity time. So that's been our key, I think, is having that JV team.
Oh, that's incredible. So you're saying the numbers are good in the Grayling soccer program?
Yeah, numbers are great. We ended up with 24 this year. I think we had 24, 25 last year. I expect to have the same kind of number next year. So, numbers are great, and hopefully they just keep climbing.
Yeah. Now, what do you expect? Marquette, a bigger school, of course, up there on Lake Superior. What are you expecting from this in this competition today?
Well, I'm excited to play Marquette. They've got a couple of common opponents against our district foes, Kingsford and Houghton. So I think it'll be a good gauge for us. They're normally pretty good. We've played them a couple of times here over the years, and it's always been a tight game with them. So I expect the same thing. They're a good team. I've seen them play a little bit on film, and I expect a really good game.
Yeah, I know they have a really good football team this year. I know it's doesn't always carry over to every other sport or anything like that. But when you've got a couple of good programs in your high school at the same time, walking the hallways of the school, it really lends a lot of pride in itself to that school.
Yeah, for sure. I think we feel the same way right now. Our kids are walking pretty tall in school and are pretty excited about it, and we got a lot of community support. I mean, last Wednesday's home game, I saw the most people I've ever seen in a soccer game, which was pretty awesome to see. I almost brought a tear to my eye. It was great to see the community coming to support a team that's having a great season.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. Well, again, I won't take much more of your time, Andy. I know you're getting ready, for this match against Marquette. Best of luck, and we appreciate you taking some time out to start our day.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right,
Andy. I'm just curious, how many of your wrestlers are you making come to soccer practice just to run?
Well, I've got 6, I believe, on the team that play or that wrestle. That play soccer. So
right.
So it's nice to keep an eye on them, get them in shape for wrestling, and I expect a pretty big wrestling season as well this year.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and the other ones are doing cross country or playing football. So it's a nice mix there, Andy.
That's right. I encourage those guys to go out and do something. Don't sit around in the fall. So it's great to see those guys doing something.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Andy Moore, best of luck today.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Andy.
you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so usually, Jade, of course, we are very heavy on the football here on the Scoreboard Show. But again, I noticed that Grayling beat Elk Rapids. They were undefeated and as of last week unscored upon. And so I really wanted to get Andy to talk a few minutes about that Grayling soccer team because, again, by all appearances, if things continue on the roll that they're going right now, that they're going to make a deep playoff run.
They'll be playing when there's snow on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll be a good thing. And you brought up that excellent point because Andy is also the wrestling coach at Grayling. And so, he likes having those kids well-conditioned, and soccer will definitely do that. The
Yes,
amount
it
of running
will.
that you do. And Grayling has a cross-country program, so kids are running in that, and, of course, and then playing football as well. So kids are very, very busy there doing that. But we will have some other coaches that we're going to talk about. We'll talk to Coach James Wagner, of course, from Traverse City West. We'll talk to him in a little bit here, a recorded interview from last night.
All right.
But so what we'll do, we'll take a little early break here. We'll get another coach on the line, and then we'll also allow us some time to go over some scores from Northern Michigan here on the Scoreboard Show. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Auto Group out of Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Michigan Trailers near Chum's Corners is having an end of the summer sell down right now. Over $5,000 off of the tremendous selection of trailers in stock and ready to roll. All prices are clearly marked on over 150 units. The best selection of utility trailers plus the best service, parts, and accessories, all at Michigan Trailers on US 31 South across from Menards in Traverse City. Visit in person or online 24/7 at michigantrailers.com. Let's go Titans!
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
You find yourself stranded.
Where am I?
That stinks, but one call to Roscommon Auto Recyclers will have you back on the road in no time at all. 24-hour towing service, a large inventory of high-quality used parts for many makes and models, ASC certified mechanics, affordable prices, and a friendly, helpful staff. Wow! That's one call that fixes it all. Find our number online at roscommonautorecyclers.com. Don't wait. Program our number into your phone now, so when you need us, we'll be there. Roscommon Auto Recyclers. We do it all.
Votes are in for the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest. It was our biggest and best year yet. Find out Traverse City's favorite businesses and professionals on the Traverse City Record Eagles page on Facebook Wednesday, September 25th. Attend the virtual awards ceremony September 25th at facebook.com/TC Record Eagle. And make sure to pick up our Simply the Best Winners publication in the September 25th edition of the Traverse City Record Eagle.
Get ready for an autumn extravaganza in the heart of the village of Roscommon. Rocktoberfest, Saturday, October 5th. Kidtoberfest kicks off at 1 p.m. with face painting, games, and bounce houses. From 3 to 11, enjoy the sweet sounds of live music, delicious aromas from an array of food trucks, and a great selection of the finest craft beer and wine to raise your spirits. Gather your friends and family and join in a day of music, games, and autumn magic. Rocktoberfest, October 5th at the Asable River Center in Roscommon. The 45th Annual Michigan Firemen's Memorial Festival is jam-packed with fun, September 20th and 21st, starting at 3:30 Friday. See firefighter competitions and demonstrations, dancing in the Big Red Barn, parades Friday night and Saturday at noon, plus vendors, all-day kids events, a blood drive, and so much more. It all happens September 20th and 21st at the Roscommon County Fire Training Grounds. You don't want to miss the Michigan Firemen's Memorial 45th Annual Festival in Roscommon.
Welcome back to UpNorthSportsRadio.com and the Sarah Automotive High School Scoreboard Show with Rich Calkins. I am JJ filling in for JC this week, which means, Rich, you get to say a whole lot more.
No, hey, it's all good. But JJ, you and I were on the call last night of the TC West Titans as they welcomed the Grand Blanc Bobcats into Thurlby Field. West was undefeated at 3-0, and Grand Blanc was 2-1. But Grand Blanc had played a very tough schedule. all 4 or 5 of those buses that they brought north.
5 with a trailer and a golf cart and a big screen TV.
73 dressed players for varsity. And again, these were not JV kids brought up for Grand Blanc. These were kids that all were juniors and seniors, and they did have a couple of sophomores that played a big role. Opening kickoff, a sophomore returned it for a touchdown. So anyway, West came up on the short end of that 31-0 score. If someone just saw that final score, it was not indicative of how that game was played.
No, it was definitely a defensive battle, especially the first half.
Right, exactly. Again, opening kick on a hard squib down the middle, which I like that kind of play because the ball bounces around or whatever. But Grand Blanc picked it up and returned it about 65, 70 yards for a touchdown. And that was the only score in the entire first half. West was able to, shut down that offense. And they have a quarterback that you and I saw. It was a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Jake Morrow was
I honestly expected a lot more out of number 7.
Oh, I did too. And but West was able to hang in there. But again, they have some of their top kids go both ways: offense, defense, special teams. They do all that for West, and they just eventually ran out of gas. Where Grand Blanc, again, they have no kids that go offense and defense. They're able to play singularly and focus on their one position and their one side of the ball. And that just is such a huge advantage when you have a hot, humid night like it was last night. As you know what I mean, kids are getting tired, hands on the hips, because again, you're doing 3 times the amount of running as the opposing team.
Yeah, you've got one player versus the other side and that they've got 3 to 4 deep.
Yeah.
For that
exactly.
position.
Yeah, it's pretty wild for sure. So, but we did talk to Coach James Wagner of Traverse City West post game, and this is what he had to say. Here with James Wagner. Coach, tough one tonight, but I tell you what, one thing you can never do is question the effort by this Titan team. It was a 7-0 game at halftime. We get the opening kick in the second half, can't do anything with it, and then they get the ball back, and then they're able to kick a field goal, and then once that happened, they got that 10-point lead, and then kind of that third quarter, they were able to score a couple more times and then open up the game.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think defense played lights out. Didn't give up a score in the first half. Kind of got ran down there as the game went. There's a lot of time they were on the field, and just, and good teams that they're going to capitalize on that kind of stuff. And we turned the ball over on that ensuing kickoff after that field goal, and it led to being in a bad field position. And defense is tired at that point, and they go back onto the field and have to, after stopping them and having a good fight down there in the goal line, you can't turn the ball over. And when you turn the ball over like that, I mean, it's just you don't win very many games. And so it's like protecting the ball. We got to protect the ball better, and and this is a good Grand Blanc team. I mean, give them credit. They definitely they're well coached. They have some very good athletes, and they're a big well sized school that definitely they're able to platoon on both sides. They have a starting defense and a starting offense, and we're a little bit at a disadvantage in that regard because we have a lot of guys that play both ways, and it's one of those things where it's just you get run down a little bit. But I can't say enough about the fight that was in my guys tonight. I mean, they were just tremendously gritty, and they never gave up. I just love the fight in this team, and I think there's a lot of good that's going to come from a loss like this. There's only good things that are going to come, and so I think the score indicates a little bit isn't a full indication of the game itself. I think there's just a lot of good things that came of this tonight, and really proud of my guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. JJ and I kept talking all game long, is that the effort was there all night long, even down late in the game, 31-0. They were hoping to get a touchdown in, punch it in the end zone just to get on the scoreboard, so they didn't put that goose egg up there for sure. But it just wasn't meant to be. But, again, in the couple of years now that we have called your games, Coach, and then you
you've been here with us, and never ever have we ever questioned at one point a kid's effort, a team's effort at all.
Yeah.
They're conditioned well. They work hard, and again, it's JJ and I both we enjoy the heck out of calling the games.
Yeah, I think there's these kids they're going to fight to the end, and they're going to try to make plays, and this is this is a team that's they're not gonna fold underneath the loss. They're gonna come back. They're gonna watch the film. We're gonna get better, and this is a non-conference opponent, and we have our whole entire conference ahead of us. And honestly, it's one of those weird things of maybe it's a good time for Lawson and being able to have some humility going into these conference games and being able to fix some things and have a mentality that you need to come back and work and be able to right the wrong and go into a conference fixing these things and having it exposed to you early so that you can take care of those problems and then fix them going into our conference. So it's what a season isn't defined by one loss. It is a journey, and there's a lot of games ahead. We came out healthy in this, and we're gonna go home. We're gonna let this sting a little bit. We'll show up tomorrow morning, start watching the film, and get ready for Midland.
Yeah, Coach, and it appears, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or anything, but we'll go down to Midland to play Midland High initially, then Midland Dow. But it appears this Saginaw Valley, the smaller school division, appears it's going to be a wide open race this year.
Yeah, it always is. I mean, anytime you're in this conference, every game is winnable for any team.
Yep.
And you got to be able to play mistake free. And again, we made some mistakes tonight. We had some costly turnovers, and it's I'd rather have that happen in a non-conference game.
Right.
I'd rather have it never. But,
right.
I'd rather have it in a time where it doesn't hurt us as much in terms of standings and all that kind of stuff. I mean, and that way we can go into our conference and be able to have some mistake-free ball. But we definitely have some work to do, and that's good. It's a good thing because we had it all figured out. And I mean, I wouldn't know what to tell my kids. So, I think there's a lot of good to come of it, and we're gonna keep on working, and we'll get ready for next week.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, a couple of guys stood out on the defensive side of the ball for sure. One of them was Braden Popa, number 5. He ended up with 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. He just was everywhere there, just played his guts out there. And then also Carson Toothman, 7 tackles. I mean, 3 of those for a loss, had a sack in there as well. Those 2 guys, you talked about the speed of your linebackers, and it really, each and every game, it is showing up.
Yeah, there's some studs in there, and both those guys, Toothman and Popa, I mean, they're deserving of a ton of credit. I mean, it's funny how much, I mean, they're brothers to the bone. It's funny, they just play really hard together. They complement each other very well. They play good physical, fast defense, and they're fun. I mean, Noah Dumont out there too. He's a fast, physical defender within that linebacker position. I mean, it's just a good group of linebackers, and those 2 are really 2 solid anchors in our defense, and so well deserving.
Yeah, well, congratulations to them as our Fox Motors motivated player and our Jimmy John's players of the game as well. So,
great.
All right, Coach James Wagner, appreciate your time after the game. We'll talk to you next week for the pregame show as, again, we go down to take on the Chemics of Midland.
That's right. And as always, go
Titans.
It's great to talk to Coach James Wagner there, JJ. Gracious with his time at the end of each and every game. And, a tough one, first loss of the season. But as we talked about before, we have all of our conference games ahead of us. We've already played 1, so we're 1-0 in conference play. And again, this Saginaw Valley Conference is wide open this year.
And you mentioned it in the interview, it's good to take this when you're 3-0 against a non-conference opponent.
That's right.
And it allows you mid-season to really gauge yourself against the rest of the competition.
Absolutely. This, we're a Division II school this year. So again, we're not a Division I school like Grand Blanc. You know what I mean? Again, 1,000 more kids plus than what, probably 1,200 more kids than we have. And so, we won't see a team like that again. This is by far the biggest school we will play all season. But no, it's a good measuring stick for sure. because again, the teams that we're going to run into when we play Midland and Midland Dow, the next 2 weeks will be on the road. We go to the same place till they share one field, similar to what Thurlby does, so that we'll go to the same place. But we'll really find out how this conference is going to play out here when we take on Midland High and then Midland Dow in that second week.
As we stand in the concrete box.
That's right.
As
yes.
we call it at Midland.
Yes, yeah, no
So.
kidding. So, but all right, Jay, we're going to go to break here again a little bit early, but then we're going to be talking to the Gladwin football coach, Mark Jarsfer. They had an interesting game. They came out on the short end of a 26-21 score against a very good Clare team. So when we come back, Coach Mark Jarsfer, you are listening to the Sarah Ford Auto Group Scoreboard Show, and out of Kalkaska in Gaylord. We'll be back in just a minute.
26. That's 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, right?
Oh, well,
Probably.
I don't know. Or just, not getting extra points. High school scoring, I don't ever try to figure out anything because, again, there's a whole lot of things that are going on.
It's too early to do math.
Yeah, so. All right, back in a moment.
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
Votes are in for the Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best Reader's Choice Contest. It was our biggest and best year yet. Find out Traverse City's favorite businesses and professionals on the Traverse City Record Eagles page on Facebook Wednesday, September 25th. Attend the virtual awards ceremony September 25th at facebook.com/TC Record Eagle. And make sure to pick up our Simply the Best Winners publication in the September 25th edition of the Traverse City Record Eagle.
It's Yacht Round to float your boat. Saturday, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band. Special guest, the Atlanta Rhythm Section. Tickets as low as $35 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and etix.com. Smooth sailing, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band and Atlanta Rhythm Section, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Sports fans, check out UpNorthSportsRadio.com for all your Detroit sports action. Get full schedules for the Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and U of M football. Catch Friday Face-Off live and hit the links with JC on episodes of Finding Fairways. Our high school sports guru, Rich Calkins, hosts the High School Scoreboard Show. And don't miss Traverse City West Titan football and boys basketball action. Catch games live or see past episodes on the podcast page. Real sports fans, go to UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
This could be the best Neapolitan pizza anywhere in northern Michigan. Crave Pasta Pizza Pub in Gaylord. When you start with dough and sauces carefully made daily and use the freshest ingredients, then flash bake it in a brick oven, it's gonna be great. Add thick slices of mozzarella, pile on pulled pork, bacon, whatever works for you. Now you're speaking the love language of pizza at cravegaylord.com. Crave for up north flavor.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins, J.J. Rowell in studio with you today. And joining us now is head coach of the Gladwin Flying G's, Mark Jarsfer. And Mark, once again, you and Claire battled it out. You guys came up on the short end of a 26-21 score.
Yeah, it was a really unbelievable game, kind of everything that we built it up to be. Claire's really built some serious momentum early on, getting off to a 3-0 start going into it. And we were 2-1 with with our one loss coming to with a 5-point, loss against Ogama, who's, probably top 5 ranked in Division 5, and so felt really good about the matchup. Knew it was going to be a great environment. We went down on our first drive, scored, made it 7-0. Possession or two later, Claire answered. They were able to punch one in right before halftime to make it 13, I believe, 13-7. And then, we kind of challenged our guys at halftime and said, it's going to come down to your just will to win and will to fight and not give up. Claire started the second half with the ball and went right down and scored. And so I'm like, all right, well, this is not ideal. This isn't, what we talked about. But, our guys responded. They went right down and scored. We got the ball back early in the fourth quarter, scored again, and actually took the lead to make it 21-20. And then we had an opportunity to put the game away with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, or at least make it extremely difficult for Claire to come back with a touchdown, and an extra point would have made it an 8-point game. And we came up short on that. Had a great punted it down to their 1-yard line. And Claire went 99 yards in 4 minutes to win the game. And so, as far as what you would want out of a high school football game, that had it all. And now the reality of it is that we're sitting at 2-2. But it's 2 losses by a combined 10 points against probably top 7 teams in our own division. If these losses would have happened, week 1 and week 7. Nobody would think anything of it, but they happened back to back, and we're sitting here at 2-2. And so, we got a stretch of games ahead of us, and I know that our guys are going to continue to prepare and fight and get us in a good situation going down the stretch.
Yeah, Coach. So everybody there that was at the game there and definitely got their money's worth last night in a great high school game.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it was an awesome environment. And another thing too is we had that little cell of lightning kind of pop up and go through, like a lot of Central Michigan did yesterday. And so our game actually didn't kick off until 8 p.m. And sometimes when there's that weather and people are deciding, do we really want to go to this?
Yes.
That didn't deter anybody. The place was packed, and it was an awesome environment.
Oh, wow. JJ and I called the game at Traverse City West at Thurlby Field, and it was beautiful, sunny there, but we could see all around us, Coach, to the east, to the southeast, southwest. It was definitely dark, and we knew somebody was getting some weather.
Yeah. And so, the weather didn't really impact the game at all. But, just the later start and kind of the mental stuff that goes into that, right? Like you have your routines and everything's by the minute and timed, from the time school gets out and that sort of thing. And then, to have to deal with that little bit of mental adversity going into it is an interesting thing, but both teams had to deal with it. Didn't deter the fans from, still coming out and creating a cool environment. And then it ended up being a great game as well.
Yeah. And Coach, you knew when the schedule came out that you looked at the middle of this schedule and you had to think, all right, this is really gonna test us when we take on Ogama Heights, Claire, and then now next week, Standish Sterling.
Yeah, I looked at it and said, what in the world is going on? Like, this is not right. This can't be right. Just because, all 3 of those programs are great traditionally, powerhouses. They're all well coached. They're all physical, hard-hitting. And so it takes a lot of preparation and getting yourself healed back up, throughout the week. From those contests, and so they're mentally and physically taxing. But our guys are fighters, and I think you saw that this week. They would have had every reason to kind of hang their heads after losing to Ogama last week in a close one. But that was never the mentality. They came right back out prepared, put on a good showing, and just came up a couple plays short of beating a very highly ranked Claire team. And so. Now that is what it is. The league is something that we're not going to really talk about or focus on because that's definitely out of our control with having 2 league losses. But, we have a 5-game stretch now here where we can get as prepared and ready for the playoffs as possible, potentially go on a little run and try to compete for a district title.
Right. And, Coach, as you know, Standish Sterling, they're 3-1. their only loss is a one-score game to Ithaca, 30-22. So when you compare, they beat a good Boyne team. So again, it's good. I mean, for like you said, 3 weeks in a row. I mean, it's just another tremendous high school matchup.
Right. Yeah, and it's a good opportunity though for us, right? Like winning fixes a lot of things, and especially winning against good teams can help you, mentally and get you set back on the right track. It wouldn't mean as much if we had a 0-4 team on the schedule right now and could kind of heal it with that. Like, we want to play the best teams in the area week in and week out and compete and do everything that it takes. That's what football is all about in my mind, and that's why I love this new league so much, even though we're not off to as good of a start as we would have hoped in the new league. But it's awesome to have to prepare for things week in and week out and make adjustments in game and challenge your kids. And honestly, I don't think the kids would want it any other way either. Like, there was nothing fun about 60, 70-point wins in the past. This is a much more fun experience for everybody involved, and we're excited about the opportunities down the stretch.
Yeah, and Coach, for people that don't know about it, talk about the changes that have taken place in the Jack Pine Conference.
Yeah, and so, with the enrollment, disparity, I guess, if you will, between, us and the Beavertons and Pinconings and Harrisons and Farwells,
sure,
those types of teams of the traditional Jack Pine, it just made for a competitive imbalance most years. Like, obviously, those smaller enrollment schools still have pride and they work their butts off and that kind of stuff, and they'll put together a good team when they have a couple classes together go through.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's hard for them to compete when they're working with half the student body. And so it's nothing against their coaches or their programs or anything like that. It's just a numbers game at that point.
Sure.
And so we went ahead and added in 4 new schools under the Jack Pine: Standish Sterling, obviously, Ogemaw Heights, and Bullet Creek, which are all the same, enrollment right around 500 essentially, as Gladwin, to pair with Clare and Shepherd, and so now we have that 6-side league on ours, and then on the other side we added St. Louis, and so it's all of the smaller enrollment teams in one side, and there's 6 of them, and then all of the bigger enrollment teams in the other to make up a 12-team conference.
Yeah, and Coach, I mean, like you said, in that Division I of the Jack Pine Conference, Clare, Ogemaw Heights, Sandy Sterling, Gladwin, Midland, Bullet Creek, and Shepherd, there are certainly no easy W's in that division at all.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all of those teams, I think, have been to like a regional final or a semi in like the last, 5 years or so, 10 years, something like that. And so traditionally very strong programs, and it brings out the best of everybody because of that league setup.
Coach, did you come out of the game last night? Are you reasonably healthy?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, anytime you get into a physical affair like that, and especially in back-to-back weeks, guys are going to be tremendously sore, and we expect that, and we practice like that and spend a lot of time on recovery and getting them back ready to play on Friday this week. And so the guys will be in cold tubs, and we'll get a light lift on Monday and run a little bit and try to get some of that lactic acid out, and then we got two working days at practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and a walkthrough on Thursday, and then we go. So that's kind of our weekly schedule that we'll stick to, and it's been good to us in the past.
Right. Coach, again, we've talked about you have Standish Sterling away at their place coming up, and in the past they've had some huge receivers. They've had 6-8 receivers, things like that. They have anything that jumps out to you on film?
Yeah, I mean, they're always so physically tough on the offense and defensive lines, and their running backs are extremely tough physical runners. And so it's another one of those games where you just got to make sure the chin straps are buckled tight and you're ready to play, because they're certainly going to bring it. And like you alluded to earlier, they're sitting there at 3-1. They have a lot of momentum. They've been doing positive things. And so, when teams start to believe that they're good and doing good things, that's contagious, and it's a hard thing to stop. And so I would expect another, great matchup. We'll dig a little more into the film and come up with, good offensive and defensive game plans, and try to put on another great showing on Friday night.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, best of luck. Again, another big-time battle in the Jack Pine Conference as Gladwin takes on Standish Sterling. Appreciate you joining us on the Scoreboard Show. Best of luck on Friday night.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Coach Jarsford there, JC and I started talking to him when they were making their championship run just a couple years ago when they won a state championship. So we were kind of looked upon as maybe a good luck charm for them. So Coach Jarsford really liked talking to us, because again, we saw that they were outscored in that year, a couple of years ago. They were just crushing everybody. I mean, they were scoring in the 60s. And they were shutting teams out. They were just, the discrepancy between the points for and the points against, it was unbelievable. So we got a hold of the coach, and he started coming on to the show about
Is that what led to the change in the Jack Pine Conference?
No, not. They just, Ogama Heights is one of those schools that where they're located, they either had to travel, they either had to go, they were a little bit too small for the Big North Conference.
Yeah. And
then, but also a little too small for that, but too big for some of the other schools. But with Gladwin and then them making two divisions now in that Jack Pine Conference with all of them around the 500 enrollment in their high school, it just worked out perfect. Claire's probably on the smaller end of that. They're probably at about a 400 enrollment. But your Standish Sterlings, your Midland Bullet Creeks, your things like that, that division then, it's a lot more balanced than it used to be.
Yeah.
He refers to, when you play some of those Beaverton schools who have like 250 kids or three, you know what I mean? It's just, it's not competitively balanced out that way. It's really tough for them to compete. And to be honest with you, Roscommon and Houghton Lake used to be in the Jack Pine forever. When I was going to school back, 40 years ago, that Jack Pine Conference, Roscommon and Houghton Lake they were stalwarts in that Jack Pine. But they've lost, through the years, they've lost enrollment. They were up around 500 kids for a long time. Then eventually they went down, they were down in the 300s and things. And that's why they went over to the Highland Conference to play the McBains and all of that, because of just, again, similar teams of similar enrollment, because they just could no longer compete against the bigger schools that played in the Jack Pine. So that's some of the behind-the-scenes things as to why teams will change conferences, is to try to get more competitive balance with similar-sized schools as well, But also, where your town or city is, it doesn't allow you to. You're going to have to travel there, that's for sure, and that will happen for sure. And as we were talking about the Jack Pine Conference right now, Clare and Ogama Heights are both undefeated, 2-0 in conference play, 4-0 apiece. So they have yet to play, of course, each other. That's going to be a great battle when that takes place.
Yes, it will.
All right, JJ. Well, when we come back, we have one more coach lined up, and then after that, then we will be going over a bunch of different scores that took place last night. But we're going to have head coach Eric Shiggers of Traverse City Central as they went down and took on Mount Pleasant last night. Came up on the short end of a 35-14 score, but we'll get a good scouting report on Mount Pleasant as well. So
and we won't pass that on to Coach Wagner.
No, not at all.
Wouldn't do such thing.
So you are listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by the Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Fall into fortune with the Raking in the Dough giveaway at Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. One guest every Friday from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. will get 1 minute to rake through a pile of leaves to find the golden leaves. Collect as many golden leaves as you can to win your share of $87,600 cash. Only at Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Real fun, real friendly. Visit Saganing-EaglesLanding.com for complete rules and details.
Sports fans, check out UpNorthSportsRadio.com for all your Detroit sports action. Get full schedules for the Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and U of M football. Catch Friday Face-Off live and hit the links with JC on episodes of Finding Fairways. Our high school sports guru, Rich Calkins, hosts the High School Scoreboard Show. And don't miss Traverse City West Titan football and boys basketball action. Catch games live or see past episodes on the podcast page. Real sports fans, go to UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
Archie Social House is taking a break from dinner service after a very busy summer, although they will continue the popular Monday night trivia games with burgers and handhelds available with a full bar. The best brunches in the North continue each and every morning and afternoon, as well as the popular coffee bar. John and Nick personally guarantee your experience to be excellent, so nosh soon at Archie's on 237 Lake Street, Traverse City, and archiesfresh.com. archiesfresh.com.
Tune in to Up North Sports Radio for U of M football.
Brought to you in part by Jansen Insurance, family owned in Grayling with more than 60 years experience. See how they can help you at janseninsurance.com.
WGRY, Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Up North Sports Radio. J.J. Rowell and Rich Calkins on the Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord High School Scoreboard Show.
That's right. And head coach joining us now, head coach of Traverse City Central, Eric Shiggers. And Coach, you guys traveled down to Mount Pleasant last night to take on the Oilers and came up on the short end of a 35-14 score.
Yeah, we did. We just had a couple miscues and just couldn't put things together, and had a couple turnovers. And Mount Pleasant played a good game, and they had a good scheme against us. And when you go on the road and your first game in the Saginaw Valley, you got to play good football to win, and we weren't able to do that last night. So it's back to the drawing board, and hopefully home cooking is going to be the difference because we finally get a home game and for the first time in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly, Coach. And again, you're going to be hosting Midland Dow, a team that's playing really good right now as well. But going back to that Mount Pleasant team, we haven't had a chance to see them yet. Of course, they lost their starting quarterback from last year as he was going to just cross over the street there and become enrolled at CMU. But what are they doing offensively? Are they pretty much running the same concepts?
Yeah, they just out of I formation a little bit, and also they had some spread concepts where they get the ball to their pretty talented receivers, and that's what we had trouble with last night. A couple of receivers got loose and made some big plays, and like I said, in a game that's tight, if you look at both teams are, it can evenly match, even though the score didn't indicate that. It's like big plays are kind of the equalizer there, and they were able to make more big plays than us, and it showed last night. When we tried to play catch up, and that's difficult to do when you get down a little bit, and you're doing some things kind of out of your comfort zone and try to make plays. And credit to our kids, they kept fighting, and I appreciate that out of them. It's just something that we just got to continue to execute and get better. We talked about that afterwards. Like, everyone has a role and responsibility, from players to coaches. Like, we got to continue to get better and get better every week so we can get a win here.
Yeah, Coach, so many times in high school ball especially, the final score is not indicative as to what took place on the field.
Yeah, oftentimes it's that, but as you know, young people and even adults alike are like, it doesn't matter. It's how you're measured. The bottom line is it's how you're measured. We know that, and we're not happy with how we're measured with the fact that we had 3 losses in a row now. And last week we had a tough opponent in Davison, and going down there was
sure.
It was a game that we were just outmatched. This week, we didn't feel like it was the case, but again, you got to execute when you need to, and be physical on the road and play good football, and we weren't able to play good enough, consistently enough, and now we're kind of back to work the next day.
Right. Now, Coach, you're a team that usually relies obviously heavily, like most high school teams, on the rushing attack. Are you happy with where it's at right now, or Coach? Or are there some things that you want to improve upon to improve that running game?
Well, yeah, obviously it's the strength of your offensive line, but as you know, we lost 2 starting running backs to injury, in the first 4 weeks of the season. So we lost a kid in July, the returner from last year, and we lost another kid, in the scrimmage. So we lost 2 starters at running back, and so we've had, guys that step up, and that's kind of next man mentality. So, we talked about running back by committee, and we got a couple guys that have been doing that for us. And so, it comes down to offensive line and just consistency. Our quarterbacks, like I told you, they were young, sophomore and junior, and Isaac Turnwell has done a good job growing up these last several weeks, in being a runner and passer. And Rutger Feeney, a guy that we had a corner, he basically came in and is now our running back because we had kind of next man mentality. So he's done a phenomenal job for us there. And it's just kind of that consistency we need, not having a guy rep that position. All of a sudden he's thrown in there. That's going to take a few weeks, and he's done a nice job, but he's got a lot on his plate, and so we're trying to limit that for him.
Yeah, Coach, as it stands right now in that Saginaw Valley League, like you said, a couple of Midland Dow, Midland High, both at 2-0, West at 1-0. Is that kind of where you thought, like early in the season, where this thing would be?
Yeah, I thought Midland Dow might be kind of one of the leaders in the group there, and obviously it's who you play early on and the consistency of that. Midland Dow, they beat Mount Pleasant last week in a close game, and then they had a close game last night against Bay City Western. And I really think all the way through the league, it's going to be that way week in and week out. I don't think there's a huge gap between the top team and the bottom team, and so it's just going to be competitive. And you got to play good football and be physical and limit your turnovers and then to give yourself the best chance to win.
Yeah, in the past few years, Coach, that where Weston Central has been in this Saginaw Valley League, to me, this is the most kind of wide open. There isn't like a clear-cut favorite for the conference title this year.
No, you're right. Absolutely. We talked to our kids about that too. And, even though we first lost in the conference, I don't think the conference champ will be undefeated, to be honest. So it's one of those that, hey, one loss doesn't mean you're out of it. So you just got to keep playing. But we're not, you got to focus 1 week at a time. It is cliche, but it's so true. In high school football, there's no greater sport, no greater game, because you're right back at it, and it's a week. You have a week to prepare for something and then showcase on Friday night.
Yeah, and coaches, high school coaches, don't get nearly enough credit to trying to focus those 16 to 18-year-old kids on playing the game. And so there's just so you guys do yeoman's work, Coach.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And I tell you what, I'm standing out here, looking at flag football and watching those guys. A lot of our varsity guys just got back at 12:30 in the morning last night, and they're in bed at 1 a.m., and here they are volunteering and helping the young kids learn flag football skills. So when you talk about the type of person that plays football, they're committed, they're disciplined, they're willing to serve others, and that's kind of what our program's about. And I'm just proud of those kids that are out here today. Win or lose, you show up the next day and give your best effort, and that's what we want out of our guys, and that's what we're still going to preach, and that's the process-oriented we're going to go over here at Central. Yeah, no, well said, Coach. And you do a great job there. You're a class act. We appreciate you joining us on the Scoreboard Show. And, best of luck next week. And like you said, hopefully you enjoy some home cooking. Yeah, no, that's for sure, guys. We need it at this point. Yeah. Thank you again for supporting high school football and the Trojans. All right, you bet. Head coach Eric Shiggers of the Traverse City Central Trojans, and appreciate you joining us on the Scoreboard Show. All right, thanks, guys, and go Trojans. All right, bye. Yeah, Coach Shiggers, I mean, a class act through and through, JJ. Just absolutely always willing to come on the show. Like you said, you could hear it in the background. The kids are playing there, and he's got his
I'm glad
team.
he threw that in, because if you didn't know...
Yeah, I knew he was, a couple of weeks ago, his daughter was running cross country. And so again, hey, these coaches just aren't coaches for the. They've got a lot of things going on in their lives as well. And so they're very busy people that very next morning after that road trip down, to Mount Pleasant, to be back out there, like you said, the kids are refereeing, his football team is refereeing flag football games. So, yeah, super cool that all those kids, all of them, give back to the community.
Keep those legs stretched out.
Yeah, no question. So we did think, JJ, we wanted to go over some of the scores around northern Michigan here.
Yeah, I'm curious. My alma mater, Kalkaska, had homecoming last night. My kids were there, but we obviously were in Traverse City at a West game. So
that's right.
My kids were off in their own world when I got home. So I don't even know how Kalkaska did last night.
Right. Well, we're gonna have to look that one up because again, some of my resources are not available here. But I will try to locate that. But some of the big ones that we may have already touched upon. But again, TC Central down to Mount Pleasant 35-14. West losing to Grand Blanc 31-0. Game played in Grayling, the other Traverse City school. Traverse City St. Francis beat Grayling 40-7. In the Big North Conference action, Cadillac all over Alpena 59-0. So big time win there for the Cadillac Vikings. We thought the Kingsley-Boyne City game would be a close one, and it did not disappoint. In their salute to service game, Kingsley won a close one, 26-20 over the Boyne City Ramblers.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Another Big North Conference game, Petoskey over Gaylord, 20-0. So Petoskey remains undefeated. And so we're wondering how they were doing, if they had played a bunch of foes that didn't quite measure up early on, but now they go to 4-0 with a big win against Gaylord. So, unfortunately, Gaylord they're struggling right now. They're
rebuilding.
They are. Coach Szymanski knew that. Shamoniak, I'm sorry, was thought that last year they had that great team.
Yeah.
Brady Pretzloff and the rest of the crew that played so well. And they were awesome. I mean, they had a deep playoff run. All of that, but they were a senior-laden team, and so they knew that this year would be totally different. And they're just taking their lumps this year, and sometimes that's what you do. When public school enrollment, you have some great classes, and then there's some times where there might be little gaps here and there. But again, Coach Shamoniak out there coaching them hard and trying to get the most out of them for sure. But let's check out some of these other scores. A little 8-man action. Central Lake over Pelston, 28-22. Also in the Jack Pine Conference in that smaller school division, Harrison over Beaverton, 14-13. Remember, Sault Ste. Marie and Escanaba are in the Big North for football only. Now, JJ, after West and Central left for football, they backfilled them with the Sault Ste. Marie and Escanaba. Well, Escanaba all over Sault Ste. Marie, 45-0.
Wow.
Yeah. In a game between the Ironmen of Mansalona and Harbor Springs, it's the Ironmen 44, Harbor Springs 20. So, good job by Mansalona. Also, another 8-man game, Elkona over Atlanta, 28-0. Mile all over Charlton Heston Academy, 58-6. Also, a battle of the UP schools in 8-man. Pickford 65, Ishpeming 14. Yes. Pasties all around, everybody.
One of these days, we're going to have to go to an 8-man game. I've never... since years ago, I think in the Arena League.
Right.
Wasn't that 8-man ball?
Oh, I don't know what the numbers were on arena football, but it is something. Talk about fast action. And okay, JJ, I'm going to try to look up your Kalkaska
I don't know if I want
Blazers here to try to find. Now, are they still the Blue Blazers or the Blazers?
Well, we still wear blue. I don't know that it was ever official, the Blue Blazers or just the Blazers.
It was at once because it was just because a lot of teams have.
I think that was a marketing thing.
Maybe let's
rebrand.
I am pulling them up. It just takes a little bit to get to the right page. Okay, boys football action, and what? They played Sheboygan really close. They lost 21-17. So close, hard-fought game. They did. Kalkaska does have a win on the season. They beat Morley Stanwood in week 2, 20-14.
Yeah, so they get to go to the homecoming dance tonight.
So one and 3. Yeah,
just shy.
They played tough, and next week they play Johannesburg Lewiston. So Joburg Lewiston at home again. So Kalkaska 3 games in a row at home. And to be honest, 4 out of their first 5 are at home.
That's always a good schedule.
They host Grayling, and then at the end of the season, they go on the road against Kingsley and Roscommon.
I think that Grayling-Kalkaska game, I think that's going to be a good game this year.
Yeah. So with that, again, they battled Sheboygan last night to within 4 points. I mean, that's a good competition for sure. So
I've done a good job over the years of learning to be neutral.
Yeah.
And not, between Kalkaska and Grayling.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Me being a Grayling graduate, you being a Kalkaska graduate, exactly.
Working in Grayling.
We understand that, right? Exactly.
You sympathize for me. It's like we're a state school.
And you also realize too, with doing a show like this, where you encompass a whole area, where you talk to coaches from different schools, there's just so many good people,
right.
And we're all going through the same things. Well, the fan bases, of course, love their schools and all of that. You understand that. But by doing a show like this, like you said, you become more neutral. You're Switzerland, and you want them to do well until you maybe face head-to-head and all of that. But you wish nothing but the best for all of these Northern Michigan schools, for sure.
It's all about raising good young people.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And years from now, I can't remember scores. I can just remember playing and the friendships and the
That's
stories.
Right.
And
it is. It's that team bonding thing. It's working as one group for a common goal. And it's no different than what you do in your work life.
Yeah.
Whether we're here at the radio station, or do other things in life or whatever, you're working for a common goal for, good positive things and all that. So yeah, you just, again, the things you learn in playing sports, or extracurricular activities, as I say, doing plays, doing robotics, doing anything extracurricular is just awesome stuff, and a lot of learning that can be done in those extracurricular activities. So, JJ, I appreciate you filling in for JC. You did a great job, buddy. And
I know how to push buttons.
That's right. Yes, you do. And so. But
what it says on my resume.
JC will be back, I believe, next Saturday, and we'll be back here with more of the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord. See you next Saturday at 10 a.m.
This has been the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord for stress-free car shopping. Join us next Saturday at 10 with host Rich Calkins. Nobody loves high school sports like Up North Sports Radio.
WGRY, a division of Blarney Stone Broadcasting, 101.1 FM, Roscommon.